Yogurt is one of the most trusted health foods in the Canadian grocery store. According to Mintel, 80% of yogurt consumers consider it a healthier alternative to snacks. People reach for it at breakfast, feed it to their children, eat it as a substitute for dessert. It sits on the health pedestal. But real yogurt has two ingredients: milk and bacterial cultures. That is it. That is all yogurt needs to be. So why does the yogurt on Canadian shelves have ingredients like modified cornstarch, carrageenan, sucralose, and artificial color, in a product being marketed as a natural health food? 5 brands, exposed today, and one of them, brand number 3, ran a probiotic health claim in Canada that was so misleading it drew regulatory complaints. That is coming up. And we also explore 3 brands that is 100% Canadian-owned and gives you real yogurt. This is Canada Food Insider, where the labels get read so the truth gets told. Before the brands, let's explore what yogurt actually is, or supposed to be. Because the fraud only makes sense once the real thing is understood. Real yogurt is made by fermenting milk with live bacterial cultures. These bacteria convert lactose, the natural sugar in milk, into lactic acid. The lactic acid thickens the milk and creates the characteristic tangy flavor. No starch or gelatin needed. No thickeners, stabilizers, or artificial sweeteners required. Greek yogurt is simply regular yogurt that has been strained through cheesecloth or a fine mesh to remove the liquid whey. The result is thicker, higher in protein, lower in lactose. Again, no starch required, no thickeners, just straining. So why are so many commercial yogurts in Canada full of additives? Because for these big brands, time equals money, and making real yogurt takes time. Fermentation is slow, and thickening yogurt with modified cornstarch, gelatin, or carrageenan is faster and cheaper than waiting for proper fermentation to produce a thick, creamy product naturally. The additives are not there for the consumer. They are there for the manufacturer. Every thickener, stabilizer, and preservative in a yogurt tub exists to cut production cost, extend shelf life, or mask inferior quality. And some of them raise genuine health questions worth understanding before the next tub goes into your grocery cart. Brand number 1, Yoplait. The pink lid, the tube, the tub, the Go-Gurt. The brand that has been in Canadian refrigerators for generations. For most of its Canadian history, Yoplait was produced under license by Ultima Foods, a Quebec-based cooperative. Then, General Mills took over the Canadian license in 2012, and in January 2025, General Mills sold its entire Canadian yogurt business to Sodiol, a French dairy cooperative, for part of a $2.1 billion deal. But the ownership story is only half of what needs to be said about Yoplait. The ingredient story is the other half. Take original Yoplait, mountain blueberry flavor. The ingredients include cornstarch and gelatin in addition to milk and cultures. Registered dietitian Lisa Richards, reviewing popular yogurt brands, noted these additives mean the product does not meet the standard of minimal ingredients expected from a genuine health food. And the Go-Gurt, the product marketed to Canadian children, also contains multiple types of starches, gelatin, and added sugar. The product is being positioned as a healthy snack for kids, but the ingredient list tells a different story. But listen to this. Modified starch in yogurt is worth understanding. When starch is added to yogurt, it raises the glycemic index of the product, meaning it digests faster and spikes blood sugar more quickly than properly fermented yogurt. In a product eaten by Canadians as a health food, this matters. That is the Yoplait picture in Canada in 2025. Brand number 2 has been calling itself a gut health food for decades. The probiotic claim, the bifidus, the promise of digestive wellness, and buried in the ingredient list of the Canadian version is something that deserves a much closer look. Brand number 2 is Activia, the green tub, the probiotic promise, the brand that has spent decades telling Canadians it is specifically good for their gut. Activia is owned by Danone, a French multinational headquartered in Paris and one of the largest food companies in the world. Now, the probiotic claim. Activia contains a specific strain called Bifidobacterium lactis. Danone has funded research into this strain and positions it as evidence that Activia supports digestive health. The European Food Safety Authority rejected Danone's application to make specific health claims for this probiotic strain, stating the evidence was not sufficient to establish a cause and effect relationship. In Canada, Activia's marketing has been required to include qualifying language as part of a balanced diet and healthy lifestyle, specifically because unqualified gut health claims are not supported by the regulatory standard. But the ingredient story is what is most relevant to Canadian consumers buying this product as a health food. The official Canadian Activia vanilla ingredient list from Activia's own website reads, skim milk, ultra-filtered milk, cream, sugars, that is, sugar listed 4th, water, modified cornstarch, that is a thickening starch listed 6th, gelatin, natural flavor, active probiotic culture, vitamin D3, annatto for color, and malic acid. Modified cornstarch, in a gut health product, positioned as something that helps the digestive system. Research consistently notes that starch added to yogurt increases the glycemic impact compared to plain yogurt with no additives. But the probiotic culture in Activia is real. There is genuine science behind the bifidus strain, though the headline health claims have not cleared the regulatory bar in Europe. The problem is that the probiotic is surrounded by modified starch, sugars, and gelatin. In a product Canadians are buying specifically because they believe it is clean, natural, and good for their gut. Canadians are paying a premium price for a gut health product that contains ingredients working against gut health goals. This next brand was founded in Montreal. It was built on the idea of simple, natural yogurt, and it is now owned by the same French dairy company that just bought Yoplait. At number 3 is Liberté. Liberté was founded in Montreal in 1936. The name, inspired by the Statue of Liberty, was chosen to reflect the idea of crafting exceptional products from simple ingredients. For decades, that identity was genuine. Liberté yogurt was known for short ingredient lists, traditional methods, and local Quebec production. But in September 2024, Liberté was acquired by Sodial and Lactalis, 2 French dairy multinationals, the same Sodial that now owns Yoplait Canada. The Quebec operations continue. The yogurt is still made in Canada, but the Montreal heritage on the label now belongs to French ownership. Now, here is where Liberté deserves nuance. Their plain yogurt lines, the 2%, the 3.25% Mediterranee, the Greek, remain among the cleaner commercially available yogurts in the Canadian market. Short ingredient lists, minimal additives, but the flavored lines are more complex. The concern is not primarily with the product. It's with what happens over time when another Canadian brand is absorbed into a global corporate portfolio. The history of such acquisitions in the Canadian food industry is not encouraging. Catelli, Lancia, and now Liberté is the latest. Buy Liberté plain if the ingredients are clean on the tub currently in the store. Read the label every time, because what is in that tub today may not be what is in it 2 years from now, and the consumer has no guarantee that the new owners will maintain the standards that made Liberté worth trusting. Brand number 4 is one of the biggest yogurt brands in Canada, and it's no different from the other brands on this list. It's all going to the same place. Coming up, brand number 4, Iugo and Olympic Dairy, 2 of the most visible yogurt brands in Canadian grocery stores, sold side by side, appearing to compete with each other. Both brands are owned by Ultima Foods, and Ultima Foods is owned by Lactalis, a French private dairy multinational, headquartered in Laval, France, the same Lactalis that co-acquired Liberté in 2024. Lactalis is one of the largest dairy companies in the world. It is privately owned by the Besnier family of France and does not disclose revenue publicly. It has a significant presence in Canada across multiple dairy categories. On the ingredient side, Olympic Dairy Crema and Plain Greek lines are respected for quality in the Canadian market. The plain products have short, clean ingredient lists and are made with Canadian milk. The flavored lines, like many mass-market flavored yogurts, add sugars and thickeners. Iugo, particularly the children's squeezable pouches and tubes, contains added sugar, modified cornstarch, and natural flavors across many products. 2 brands, 1 company, French ownership, products made in Canada, profits leaving Canada. This is the Iugo and Olympic picture. Now, brand number 5 is one of the most commonly purchased yogurts in Canada right now. And it is not Canadian-owned. It is not French-owned. It is American. And its Canadian marketing leans heavily on health positioning that its ingredient list does not support. Brand number 5 is Chobani, the Greek yogurt that arrived in Canada and disrupted the category with its high-protein positioning, its clean label messaging, and its polished marketing. Chobani is an American company, founded in 2005 in South Edmiston, New York. It is privately owned, primarily by its founder Hamdi Ulukaya, who holds approximately 68% of the company. As of 2025, Chobani's estimated annual revenue is around $3.6 billion US. It is not Canadian. On the plain Greek yogurt front, Chobani deserves credit. Plain Chobani Greek yogurt has a short, clean ingredient list. Cultured milk, live active cultures. That's it. For the plain product, Chobani delivers what it claims. But the Chobani most Canadians actually buy is not the plain. It is the flavored. Strawberry, peach, black cherry, flip varieties with mix-ins. And those products tell a different story. Chobani Oikos, the flavored varieties reviewed by registered dietitians, contain more than 10 grams of sugar per serving, along with whey protein concentrate, tapioca starch, and potassium sorbate as a preservative. The tapioca starch is added to achieve a creamy texture without additional fat, the same function as modified cornstarch in Activia, a thickening shortcut. Chobani Flip products, the yogurt and mix-in combinations, have been criticized by nutritionists for their sugar content. Some Flip varieties contain upwards of 20 grams of sugar per serving. In a product marketed on a protein and health platform, that sugar load deserves scrutiny. The gap between the plain product and the full product range is where the Chobani story gets complicated. Now, 3 brands that are actually what they claim to be, all Canadian-owned, all made with Canadian milk, all with clean, minimal ingredient lists that match the health positioning. Brand 1, Hewitt's Dairy, established in Hagersville, Ontario in 1887, family-owned, still producing dairy products, including yogurt from both cow and goat milk, at the same Ontario location over a century later. Hewitt's yogurts contain no additives and no preservatives. The ingredient list is exactly what yogurt should be: milk and bacterial cultures, available in whole to low-fat options. The product range is not extensive, but what it does, honestly. Hewitt's is not in every grocery store. It is primarily available in Ontario, at Farm Boy, select Loblaws locations, and independent health food stores. But for Ontarians who want to keep their yogurt purchase genuinely Canadian, this is the answer. Brand 2, Organic Meadow, a dairy cooperative based in Ontario, farmer-built and farmer-owned, producing certified organic dairy products, including yogurt. Their products use pure organic milk from member farms and active probiotic cultures. Certified organic means the milk comes from cows raised without synthetic pesticides, hormones, or antibiotics. Independently verified. The ingredient lists are clean. The ownership is genuinely Canadian. And as a cooperative, the profits go to the Ontario farmers in the cooperative, not to a multinational headquartered in France. Available at Whole Foods, certain Loblaws and Sobeys locations, and independent health food stores across Canada. The price point is higher than the mass market brands, because organic dairy from a farmer cooperative is genuinely more expensive to produce. It reflects the real cost of what yogurt should be. Brand 3, Avalon Dairy, British Columbia, operating since 1906. Over a century of dairy production on the West Coast, and still independently owned. Avalon produces plain, organic, and probiotic yogurt varieties, all using BC milk from local farms. The ingredient lists are clean. The ownership is Canadian. The supply chain is local and traceable. For BC residents specifically, Avalon is the most direct way to buy yogurt, where both the dairy and the profits stay in the province. Available primarily in BC, at Whole Foods BC locations, independent grocers, and through local food delivery services. If there's any limitation, it's distribution. But that limitation is itself an indicator of authenticity. a brand that hasn't sacrificed local integrity for national scale. Real yogurt is milk and bacterial cultures. That is the standard. That is what yogurt was for centuries before the food industry found ways to make it cheaper, faster, and more shelf-stable, and then market the result as a health food. The 5 brands covered today are not evil. They are the logical output of an industry that has decided thickeners are cheaper than fermentation time, sugar is cheaper than quality milk fat, and French ownership is invisible to Canadian consumers who have never been told to look. And almost every major yogurt brand Canadians reach for, Yoplait, Activia, Liberté, Olympic, Iugo, is now owned by French dairy multinationals, Sodial, Danone, Lactalis. The profits are leaving Canada every time a tub goes through the checkout. Most Canadians have no idea. 3 questions before any yogurt tub goes into the cart. Does the ingredient list have more than milk, cream, and bacterial cultures in it? And if so, why? Who actually owns this brand? And where do the profits from this purchase go? Is there a Canadian-owned alternative available in this store right now? Hewitt's, Organic Meadow, Avalon, 3 Canadian-owned yogurt brands, clean ingredients, local milk, profits that stay in Canada. This is Canada Food Insider.